So anyway, this is what I look like on Facebook. I'm on the social media committee, and so they wanted me to go in there and try to spread the word about IAOMT. Mostly my interest was SMART, because I helped develop that program. I am the first SMART certified dentist in the world. that's my big claim to fame. But so I decided, like, if I'm going to make an impact, I should, like, you know, just make a little character of myself so that really hit the dentist. I've been kicked out of more groups and I'm in it. So that's just how it is. No, I pulled myself. I think they might. I pulled myself out of Cutler. It's funny, you know. I don't know. You guys know what Cutler protocol is for detox? Well, it's totally bad. I think it's pretty much a bad idea with all my research that I've done about the Cutler protocol. I would advise you to try to stay away from that. But you have to make your own decision on that. But they're nasty. That's like the nastiest food.
Can you make a few points about that so I understand better about it? Because I did see a conversation with them arguing.
Oh, if you don't do it, you are like the devil.
I got that book and I was on their Facebook page and they're so nasty towards animals.
So Andy Cutler, Andy Cutler, he has a book and he had a theory about that alpha-lipoic acid. You could use it as a chelator. He was a chemist, and if alpha-lipoic acid is has a disulfur group, so he theorized that it would pick up metals, and if you took it, it should detox you, and of course it will go into the brain. But the problem is that it is actually a substance that your body uses, but it uses it for upregulating the glutathione system. So when you take it, it works for some people, depending on your blood, by upregulating your glutathione system so that it's working. But if you have a stick in that glutathione system, you keep taking it, you get backed up, and you get all these, like, what they call, you're just detoxing, you're having you know, it's nonsense. It's because ALA is not a chelator. And actually, I asked Boyd Haley, Mercury God, if you don't know Boyd yet, but he, in an interview, and he said what he thinks happens also is that Mercury actually will piggyback on the back of ALA because there's active transport mechanisms that take ALA into the cell. So if that sulfide group picks up the mercury and then it gets grabbed and goes into the cell, now you've got a problem, and now you're loading your cell with more metals. So I tried to explain it to them, and you know, they had hitmen out for me. So I like stay away from it. But every time they're very aggressive at spreading the word on social media, and it's really bad for people, I think. So I try to always say stay away from color. But I get tired of it because there's a lot of them, you know. And so that's it. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you. They argue about this versus quicksilver. What is your feeling about quicksilver?
No. So your natural mechanism for removing toxins from your body is glutathione. So if you're metal toxic, your body is always trying to pick up metal, and you're glutathione deficient. So this was, you know, before quicksilver even came, he just saw the opportunity, and he's a smart chemist, and Chris Shake made everything into liposomes. You know, he bought a machine, and then he bought a bigger machine, and now he like owns the machine company. But it's an excellent system for upregulating what your body does naturally. And the whole thing is, glutathione takes stuff out. And so, give yourself glutathione. You have to take it liposomal form or IV. IV is questionable because it's such a large amount at once. But liposomal form glutathione to up your glutathione system. The vitamin C actually acts in many ways. You should probably, in my opinion, be taking C every day anyway, high doses. But the will actually renew and keep your glutathione fresh so that you have plenty. So it's another upregulator of your glutathione system. The couple of minerals that you take along with it, because if you're going to detox for a long time, which you need to detox for a long time, you're going to take to replenish. Make sure you have plenty of those minerals. And then when you're dumping, it goes into your cell. Glutathione goes everywhere because that's how it is. It's made in your liver. It goes everywhere. Then it's grabbing metal and it's taking it to the liver and it's dumping into the bile. So when that happens in the gut, it can come back in and recirculate in the hepatic system. So you take the binder. And the binder of your choice, which, you know, Shade has a pretty smart guy. If you don't know him, hang out with him when you can see him. He's a lot of fun. But so you take his binder, and we know that it binds lots of good things, and it doesn't get absorbed. The binder just stays in your gut and goes through. Some people want to take chlorella. Be careful. Chlorella, you have to take clean chlorella because you can't take metal. You can get metal right from chlorella, so you need clean chlorella. But you got to take a lot of chlorella because the binding capacity for chlorella is not that great. So you would take, he has this silica binder, which is like this little vial for about $18,000, but it lasts for 18,000 months. You know, it's pretty. You know, when you take it in a little dram, it's okay.
Which one?
That's the binder.
The IMD.
No, the binder.
The binder, yeah, or he has the charcoal binder. IMD, I think it's called, right?
Diatomic earth, is that?
No, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't know too much about the binder, about that. I would stick with these things, you know. Klinghardt uses chlorella, but you've got to take it all day long, and you know, pretty soon you're like peeing green because you're taking like so much chlorella. Yes.
What about
Is that the one you're doing?
Pectin.
modified?
The pectin, as far as what I understand, pectin, if you take pectin while you're, it actually lowers the absorption from your intestines of metals that might be in your food. Right? Yes, but it doesn't have any effect of going, I think binding of the mercury is efficient.
Can I sum up on the Cutler thing?
Yeah.
So I think the problem with Cutler, and I'm not putting them in, they're not really working with the system that exists. So they're not using our bodies naturally, right? So Chris is basically supporting the system that how do you get rid of metals, okay? And he's catching so you don't re-toxify yourself. That's the big thing, Cutler. So you could strip all the metal off your veins or something, or arteries with AIA, and then all of a sudden you get the crazies. You know, this is what's happening. They're saying those are just normal. But opening the pathways, moving things through in a natural way is what Chris is trying to exploit.
Yeah.
He does a good job with that.
Yeah.
And this product, that's the one we just before.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yes.
That's
That's
the
good.
one. So
It doesn't.
This is called a binder. This is called intestinal plants.
Exactly. It's a binder.
It's not a binder, but it's not the binder that has like a charcoal. He doesn't have the binder.
Yes. So his claim, or you know, for the charcoal binder, they have several different, maybe clay in there. They have all of this stuff, and he in his lecture he says that some of those other binders will bind up yeast. It might be better for binding different kinds of materials. This is specifically designed by him. It's a silicon particle with sulfur on it. It does not get absorbed into your system. It just goes through your intestines, and it's very powerful at picking up lots of mercury.
And that's what I always use is the little bit when I.
Yes,
That's
the
what
little
I-
scoop.
That's why I was.
Yes.
That's designed to lower inflammation in the GI. That's what it does. And then
So this is supposed to be taken before we
I don't know.
receive it,
So
right?
during.
It's the IMG that,
No, this one take weeks before.
yeah, but it prevents
Absorbing.
mercury from the organic mercury.
The glutathione is bringing it to your excretion system, and then now it's processed. The mercury is going to be squirted out in the bile to the intestines. That is the stuff that catches it, push catch, and then it carries it out. Once it's bound, once it's bound, it goes out. You can watch all of the videos of Chris Shade. I really encourage you to watch them and then watch them again so that you can talk about this as fluently as I like to talk about it, so that your patients are going to ask, because most of your patients are going to be much smarter than you are when you're starting out. And so that's a good thing to really educate, and it's fun when you start to understand it. It's pretty cool stuff, you know. So, did that help you? We're going to talk about that maybe some more. I'm the chair of the international committee, so you guys got to know that internationally we're just like ready to just boom. And we've been in chapters for so long. Now the chapters never seem to grow. So we decided that we're going to eliminate chapters, and now we're going to have meetings around the world. And it's really going to be, it's a challenge, but it's going to be like, we're going to grow like this and be like this everywhere. So our next meeting is in Bled coming up in a few weeks. Beautiful place. If you're looking for a vacation, you guys should pack it up. Bled, Slovenia, just north of Italy.
2 hours from Venice.
It's awesome. And so what we're talking, if you guys wanted to go, what we're talking about doing is, and we haven't really initiated, but we'll do it. If you want to go, I'll get you in cheap. So you won't have to pay. What we want to create is we can now travel worldwide, and we can go to these meetings. So it's a business write-off. And then if you're traveling internationally, you're going to be charged a fee, which is much less than an entrance fee. You'll be charged a fee enough to cover your cost of being there. And so that we want to encourage people to come from one area of the world to the other. And then the people that travel and build locally, well, they have to pay it off. That's who pays for the meeting. But we want to, it's a wonderful thing, I'm telling you.
Are you connecting with some alliances in Europe and other parts of the world? Because they're being ahead of this game quite a bit.
We have a problem. I mean, we can talk about this for hours, because I've been dealing with these people for some time. Like in Germany, there's a couple of different biologic groups, but they don't want to talk to us. Okay? They won't even communicate. Also, somewhere like up in Norway, somewhere there's another, and they again, for some reason they don't want to communicate. So we're wide open to trying to join everyone, because we're not trying to create. This is the thing, chapters. We are all one in the world. And now what we want, the only barrier is the language barrier. But otherwise, we all have the same intention. We're trying to help our patients. And so we want to eliminate all of these different groups and fighting between the groups and coordination. And we try to support each other. So Americans have a bad name. We go over to Europe, we go over places, and they have some kind of group. They don't want what you say you're inside me. Come on. We probably bombed them at some time in the last 2 years, you know. So yes, I'm aware. I think we're going to do it right. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys need to travel and do this. so now I bring this up, and I always, we talked about detox, but everybody is always thinking about detox for their patients. And I'm talking about detox for you. All right? Because if you work in a dental office, all offices have a level of mercury. I don't care how, I'm a clean office. If you rent a Mercury 3000 sniffer and you sniff your office, there's a level in your office. Everybody in your office breathes mercury the whole time you're there. If you work 30, 40 hours a week, you're working too much, but you're breathing mercury the whole time. And your system, sure, you seem okay, you seem okay, but mercury, of course, we know now, is bioaccumulation. And you're bioaccumulating mercury every day, all day. And you are toxic. If you have not, if you are either toxic, if you have not been using a proper mask and protection, and you've been practicing, I first symptoms came in dental school, and if you think back, you probably had symptoms too. And so you are toxic, you breathe it every day, you need to detox every day. And if you're going to work in a mercury mine, you need to be doing shades protocol. At least the same number of days. I do it now at night when I sleep because our body detoxes at night. I switch to at night. I take my glutathione and I get up in the morning and I'm ready to go. So, but you are becoming slowly worse and worse, and you don't develop symptoms, and don't wait until you have cancer or you have some kind of mental breakdown. You need to realize and you need to detox for yourself. And that's just a part of our job. I try to make my staff here detox, and every once in a while, I don't know, they probably take the stuff home and throw it away. I don't know what they're doing, but they need to detox. Everybody, your front desk is breathing it. You can rent the machine from our office and take it to your office, and you can prove it to yourself. You walk outside, it's 0, you walk in your door, and the meter goes.
And by the way, when Mark says rent the meter from our office, means the IAOMT owns the device.
Yeah, we have one, the Mercury 3000, that I don't know how backed up it is, but we can get on a list and they'll send it to you and you can use it for a week. And measure your garbage, it's coming out of there, it's everywhere. Maddie's been checking the floor now, and he's got his whole office set up with sniffer everywhere, and then in a central location, the machine, and you can see that where the levels are, and when he's drilling mercury out, the level goes up, and now he was using one of those Swifter things and checking the floor, and the floor is covered. They clean the floor with sulfur, and then it's still, after they do another Mercury-Safe mercury removal, it's still there.
So what is the name of the sniffer? Will you have that in the presentation?
What is that?
The name of the sniffer?
Oh, it's Mercury 3000. If you Mercury 3000 measurement device or something, you're gonna Google.
So they don't use a Jerome analyzer anymore?
We switched. I mean, Jerome is fine,
Old technology.
but this is better technology. Yes, so this is
I've
for
never heard of it.
real time.
So
Yeah.
Mercury 3000.
Yeah. Jerome is fine, but it's called we call it the sniffer, but it's a Mercury 3000. That's what it is.
If you want a little more information, there are two presentations this weekend relative to occupational. One was on Fundamentals Thursday, which you might have access to the slides on the app. And then one, same thing I gave to the students on Friday. If you look up my last name, you got to go to speakers.
Who are you?
Call. Last name is Kall.
Oh, okay.
If you scroll down to, go to speakers, look up the name. You see all the names, so you open a name, you open call, scroll all the way down to the bottom of that listing, and you'll see the PDF file of the slides. And that should be pretty much of all the speakers that presented. But I've got a photograph of the Mercury 3000 unit. You see what it looks like.
Is it measuring just in the air or on the surfaces too? Or does it measure?
It's measuring only mercury vapor, not particulate.
Okay.
And it's measuring wherever you put the end of the probe or the tube. So it's
Yeah, we call it the sniffer because
Yeah.
you have this tube and it just keeps, you know, and it's pulling the air in constantly in real time. One of the problems they had when they were measuring for the study was that also it's not just vapor. The big problem is the particulate, the nano-sized particulate, and it was sucking in this little nanoparticles. And at one point, I think, at some point, they would have to stop and clean it out because it starts lining the tube with the mercury, and that's what you're breathing. That's why you're detoxing. That's why you're sick. That's why you're yelling at your husband all the time.
The Jerome had this tube though, that it turns annotations mouth.
Right.
And read measures, is that on that?
You can do, yeah, it's a tube.
Okay.
And in fact, embedded in my slides is a video that shows the manufacturer's rep from Mercury 3000 at Dr. Griffin Cole's office. They opened a can, a brand new can, a sealed can of amalgam, the recapsulated amalgam. And just opening that, and they measured. And it was like over, I think it's 450 micrograms. And it hadn't even been triturated or anything. I mean, it just blew their minds when they did that. Just a couple years ago.
The best video, and Randall can't find it, it's unfortunate, is Alex is the guy who owns that company, right?
Yeah, he's in this video.
Yeah, so Alex said, when we asked him to come and measure dental offices, he's never did it before, but he owns the company, I'm probably sure. He said, and his comment was, when he walked into the waiting room, he couldn't believe that there was kids in the waiting room crawling around on the floor. He said, we shut down factories for mercury levels that are lower in the dental office waiting room. So that's where we work with.
So the problem is how do you separate? It almost makes sense to have a totally separated environment to remove just amalgam, and then a separate environment to treat patients.
Absolutely.
But how do you do it in one office, in one space?
If you're able to, do it. If you can't, most of us can't do it, then
But it's still going to go through the air circulation.
the people that are doing it, they set up a separate air circulation for that room.
Okay.
I always suggest to people, and this is one of my Facebook digs to those conventional doctors who want to brag or build a new office. What should I do? And I always tell them what you should do is have a dirty room. You need a separate ventilation system, close off, go in there, do the dirty work, take off your clothes, get the hell out of there. You know, yeah, because no, it's bad, man. It's a silent killer. It's like, it's mercury is a bioaccumulation nightmare.
In England, what about Shabir's room where he has a
It's
glass
not
off?
sealed.
Is that real?
No, it's not sealed. I mean,
Right.
I was
Yes,
up there.
okay. It's not real.
We had our first meeting in London, and Shabir, a wonderful dentist. No, he put up, and he has a room, big room, like, you know, it's big like this, and in the middle, he put up around his dental equipment a glass, a whole glass thing. It's not sealed in the roof, but put it there. But he put it there for a reason, because he's also a naturopathic doctor, and they are, I think they suffer mercury toxicity, but they are so afraid of their government and their board that they're coming to get me all the time. So he said, I go inside to the glass with my patient, I tell them that they should have mercury fillings and root canals and then everything else, and I bring them out the glass. Now I'm a naturopathic doctor right here on the other side. We sit down and I say, that stuff is garbage, you don't want that in your mouth. So he said, I follow the law and this is how I do it. And it has other things, you know, they have, it was kind of an ingenious idea. And, yes, there's lots of different things so that he could do it and we can sleep.
Plexiglass too, it's like.
I think it's like in the hospital when they have a room for patients with tuberculosis, they have their own air system, filtration system.
Yeah, really. I mean, what would really be impressive is we all had like oxygen packs, and then you came out to the waiting room and said, "Okay, next." You know, and they're all sitting there. We're all protected. Your front desk is sitting there in oxygen. You know, I think there might be the idea. You know. So, but if you're gonna, your patients that come to you, they always are going to want to know about detox. So you have to make a decision, because for our license as dentist, if the board was actually technically coming to you to, they might say, you've been telling people how to detox, your license doesn't cover that kind of thing. So you have to decide. I mean, when I first started, I was afraid. I was like, no, I'm not going to talk about that. But so I decided, okay, I need an outside physician. It's very hard to find an outside physician that agrees maybe with you. They want to use DMSA, DDS, they give them some bark from a fir tree or whatever they're going to do, and you're like, no, that's not. So it's hard but lucky for me, after lots of research, and then stumbles a young guy who we agree on detox. And I do use him for the more difficult cases, but you have to find a doctor. If you're not going to supply detox information for your patient, or you see that your patient is sick, then perhaps you should, get in the yellow pages and see if you can find somebody.
So, finding a doctor, if they use a methodology that you don't want, but they're the only one that uses anything in the area. Right.
I know. I put on my big boy pants and I just do it myself. That's what I decided. I'm old now. I don't care. They only get cross, baby. I mean, when I use Shape's protocol, if I was afraid of it, I'd just say, here, you should get a black box. And you should buy 12 of them or whatever, because you need to do it for a year. So, and that's taken care of. And it's kind of
Are you going to go over that protocol now?
I wasn't going to go into detail, but we can go over anything you want, man.
Well, just, how about a website or something for that?
For Quicksilver?
Yeah, for the...
Yeah, go to, or send me an email if you want, and then I'll give you the link. He has a whole set of videos. You can learn his whole protocol, and it's too much for us to go into detail on it. But send me.
Well, I can research it.
Yeah, if you go to YouTube and you go Chris Shade, you're going to get like a bunch of videos, and then just go down the rabbit hole, and you're going to find.
Okay.
You're going to find
all that down that hole.
You're living in it right now, baby.
Quicksilver Scientific. There's all other things coming up.
Yeah, so but for me, I started taking doctors out. I asked to invite them to lunch. It was surprising how many said no. Or you could, the other choice is the commercial protocol, like you just said, like we're talking about. You can just go to and say, use Chris's protocol, or when you get more confident, you can just recommend the protocol that you think is best, because I always tell Shay that he stole my protocol and then put it in the liposome, because before he was in existence, we had Tim Guilford, who's the liposomal glutathione researcher, lecture to us, and I realized, wow, glutathione is it, and I'll tell you, I went to school in Chicago, and I was back. Our meeting was in Chicago, and my buddies, of course, they dragged me out, keep me at the bar, pour beer down my mouth until 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'm at the meeting. I'm all like, okay, where's my seat? And then Tim Guilford gives his lecture on glutathione, and I went out. He had a little table there, and I was like, oh, I've heard it. He said, here, take a little of this. I'm telling you, in 15 minutes, I came out and I was like, wow. That's like a miracle. So that was how I discovered it. But then I put together, we have another speaker, Jaffe, great, look up Jaffe and Perk in that company, and he explained how the vitamin C works. They have a great vitamin C product. So I put together my own protocol. So for years, I would tell my patients, this is how I detox. And I'll send it to you. But I don't tell them, like, do it, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, like, Shabir, I step into the thing, like, this is how I detox, and then I give them the thing, and then they can do their own detox. Then Shay stole my idea, and he put it in a box, and now you can get it from there. So you can do it however you want, how you feel comfortable, but your patient's going to expect you to do something. Taking the mercury out of the mouth is one thing, but if you don't get it out of the brain, you haven't solved it. So it's a big thing. But yeah, absolutely.
So basically, you have to walk the walk. You tell patients they detox. When I first got into the academy, I had proposals on all the settings. But the academy needs to really also say everybody in the audience that have their amalgams now. So if you have amalgams, that's something you need to do too. You tell your patients you have your amalgams out, because that's the source, that's the primary source, unless you're taking them to
yeah, look to somebody in the academy that will take them out for you. Don't be walking around with mercury in your mouth. It's a very interesting thing that we don't really know. But, there's a doctor in Slovenia where we're having a meeting who will lecture. He's a mercury researcher. He's like the Boyd Haley of Europe. And his observation was he moved there to study the mercury miners. It's the second largest mercury mine in the world. And he's been doing this for decades. And he was smart enough to count the mercury fillings in their mouth. And in his data, he found that the workers who had more than 4 mercury fillings were statistically more likely to have neurologic problems. I thought, wow. I said, these people work in a mercury mine. And we think like a couple of fillings is going to make a difference. Well, his theory is, he said, and he had no science on it, he said, but my feeling is that their body never gives a break. So you think about every time you breathe, you always have a level of mercury, so your body can never know. And kind of made sense. And so it's just like very interesting. The story is, get your mercury out. Be an example. Don't be fooling around, man. It took me a while to find somebody to get them out for me because, I don't trust any of these dentists. So, when you become a biologic dentist, of course, we all know these are the kind of people that walk in the door, and you have to remember that, at first, you look at these people and you go, oh my God, if you just hang with them, almost all the people that come to your office are educated, and they might look a little esoteric, we fall in love with these people. They're like great people. They're just very interesting, and it's really, have fun, man. I mean, it's like I love it. I learn so much from my patients, but be ready, because, man, it's like, change the slide.
They'll show their bowel movements, a picture on their phone. What do you think of this?
Oh yeah, anything, But no, get to know your patient. I spend a couple hours with my patient at least when they come, just to get to know them. And the other thing that I think is important, one of the things for the way I do it anyway, before you can get an appointment at my office, you have to fill out a help form, information form. It's like 7 or 8 pages long. And so then we'd say, we'll call you after the doctor looks at your form. So now you've got a person that you know wants to come. They're not going to no-show because they filled out 8 pages to get in there. And now they also perceive you to be something special because now you have, they're like, wow, you got to fill all this. And then you're asking them questions like, how many bowel movements do you have a day? They're like, oh, you know, this guy's a freak, you know. But they get the, from your questions, you know, I think this is one of the most important things to have is to have this kind of information you take before you see them. Now when you sit down to interview them, you have lots of questions for them based on your form.
So this becomes a problem in your practice because if you're seeing somebody, you've got them scheduled for a half hour, and then it ends up taking an hour, you're going to get behind. And if you take an hour to do something that's like a consultation, do you have a set fee for the first appointment that's normally high?
Well, I'd schedule 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours, depending on that form. If I'm paying attention, I review the form, I'm like, okay, I know this, I'm going to knock this one off in probably less than an hour and a half, so that's an hour and a half.
Right.
Then the other one, that's, you know, oh, I got home, I got mine, I got kids that are a problem, I got everything, you know, everything, I've got it all, you know. That's a 2-hour appointment. I schedule 2 hours. And then my assistant goes out and has a smoke or something. She hates me saying that. She has a smoke.
Do you vary your price for your initial
Well, my initial fee is, okay, I network, it's called a record taking and an interview. And patients come in and they say, well, I'm really here to see if I want to come to you. I'm like, no, you're here because I'm going to see if I'm going to help you. So we joke around, but we take X-rays for it. We already have their X-rays from their previous. We determine do we need an FMX. We take photographs. We do a full series of photographs, and I do any home testing or anything like that. And we sit down and we talk for 2 hours, and it's in my schedule. I'm not trying to squeeze anything in there. The only thing that we squeeze in there is maybe an ozone. Somebody coming from surgery. I'll walk out and I'll hook them up on the ozone machine and hey, see you in a little while, and then my assistant will take them off and put them on the nasal and put them on the ears, and then I wait a minute, I have an ozone break over here, and then the patient, the new patient says like, well, what is that ozone, you know? So it's like, so no, you cut it in, you're behind it on every procedure, don't worry about it, dude. It's like, it's part of our life, you know?
Well, that's what I'm asking though, is you have this massive 2-hour block of time that if you were doing something else,
it's a gift.
You give it to the patient.
It's a gift. I mean, I charge for that initial exam maybe $200.
Okay.
You know, and I think the FMX, if they have an FMX, photos are 15 or 20 bucks, and all of the rest, it might come to about 400 for their first visit.
Okay.
But
That's
yeah,
helpful.
it's a gift. You know,
It's still not
you know,
enough
we
time, by the
make
way.
plenty of money. That's
Never.
it's.
No, I mean, you have to pull them out of the room. I'm like, and they'll do it again when they come to the
You
next
can imagine that she thinks I like to talk.
Where did you get that idea?
What dates did you send to evaluate accreditations or?
This is, during this first initial visit, they only are told about the cavitations. If I see something, of course, on FMX, I never diagnose a cavitation, but I would tell them what a cavitation is. If they don't, most of the time they will already know, all right? But sometimes you have to explain. Then I use the videos from our past lectures, and I will send them some lectures. Like Lechner's video, oh my God. You know, like if you can watch a Lechner's video, yeah, who we saw here yesterday, the researcher, the cavitations, and the crazy amount of runtas that comes out of there. Yes, then that's something to show your patient.
No, but what I was asking is, taking the funding at the first appointment is not hard, it's not included in
$100.
Not in my fee, oh, no, that'd be separate fee.
Separate.
And in my case, I use a surgeon, so that I don't even talk to them about those fees. That's a different appointment.
Referral to surgeon to the
Yes,
appointment?
yes. Now, if you were going to have, if you did your own surgery, which you should, if you aren't afraid of blood like I am, then you should do your own surgery because that's how you really, it's the most lucrative and I think one of the most best ways to help your patients in many cases. Then maybe I would meet for 2.5 hours and I would include the code beam in it, but I would keep that separate because number one in that first appointment, you don't even know if they want to deal with the application. Not everybody, even if they realize what it is, they don't want any surgery, they don't want to deal with it. But your job, as I'm just about to tell you, is to tell them that you think they might have a problem that it should be at least looked at. All right? So when you're a biologic dentist, all those crazy people that I showed you are coming into your office, and they already have done their research, they're coming for you, and you accept them because you see they're looking for a biologic dentist. This is what they expect out of you. It's very simple. There's 4 things. So as a biologic dentist, you need to be prepared to do these 4 things. And you need to be confident enough to talk about every one of those 4 things. Because if you don't, in many of these patients' mind, you're a quack, you're a fake. You're a fake biologic dentist.
Zirconium implants are not part of that?
Metal. Metal.
Well, that's what they could be part of.
Metal. Cavitation. It's part of it. It's part of your treatment plan. They have it, they have metal, you're going to talk about it. You know? And all metals. Metal crowns, metal-based crowns, you're going to talk about it. Implants, 100% of metal implants block meridian. All metal implants are nasty in more than one way. I think you were first.
What do you tell them about root canal? Then should they take them out or should they?
Hey,
What do you?
nice root canal. I would never have one.
Right, but they
You know, I tell them that I don't believe in root canals. It's up to you. That root canals are, if you look at them on a cone beam, it's like 100%. You'll find 100% there's lesions that you can't see on my 2D X-ray. So I say they're dead. Your immune system is constantly having to look at them, and when we look at them closer, they're infected. It's up to you. They don't hurt. You don't want to take it out. It's up to you. We'll wait till you get breast cancer, and then we'll talk about it. But if the ADA calls, I didn't say that.
Right. But your personal stance is not to get, like, you would not recommend it to them. Like if a tooth, they come in with a deep cavity, let's say.
Yeah.
That's in the nerve.
Oh, to get a root canal?
Yeah, it's hurting them and they don't want the tooth out. What do you tell them?
I tell them that I say the conventional dentist, I always say the same. The conventional dentist would recommend that you get a root canal.
Right.
If you want one, I'll send you to a conventional root canal specialist.
Okay.
I would never have one. And most of my patients want them out. And then we get down and talk about zirconia implants. And that's a whole other quick as you can get an explanation because you don't have a whole lot of time to talk all about it. But no, I never. I say no.
Because I know the IAOMT doesn't have a exact stance on it, right? They're not pro or against.
No, we are doing research. Right now, there's a new research being done that we're using. They're using a laser, this PIPS thing, so that they're going to put some fluid in the canal and they're going to shoot a laser so that it. The initial look at that looks like it doesn't clean it either, and most of us feel like if you even clean it, it's still dead.
Right.
So no, that's it. You know, I don't tell them. Yes.
How do you deal with when patients call and they want to keep you on the phone? They're
Oh my
questioning
God,
you about so much, and you're like, okay, well, I have 15 minutes to, talk to you, but I would suggest making appointments and go in depth, and they don't want to get off the phone, and they just keep
This is, you mean for the front desk person?
Mm-hmm. She has a
Yeah.
hard time with that,
Yeah.
breaking the conversation off. How do you deal with that?
I try not to listen, I just try to keep the
You
room.
do more email with lots of answering questions and try to keep it off the phone.
I mean, how do you deal with that?
So for me, my front desk is limited on the amount of information they can give. And so they start asking things about, I mean, we don't give out prices, and we don't discuss root canals and whether they're good or bad or anything like that.
Because you don't know who's calling.
So what does she say? I suggest that you just make an appointment and the doctor will spend the
You
extra
can fill out the forms online and make it
So
a
where did you get those forms? Or you made your own forms?
Well, I mean, that's a sad story. So I had some beautiful forms, and they're like yoga forms, you know, and they really worked beautifully. And then my web person passed away, and now
Was that Dory?
yes, and now the group finds that she took the information with her, and they have a hard time with it because she used to manage that. So they've discontinued the forms. So now I use this commercial thing called Jot forms. It's Jot, J-O-T, Jot forms. And you can set that all up yourself.
Like if you talk to Jim Roga, James Roga, he won't.
I haven't talked to Jim at all.
He doesn't know anything about it.
He doesn't know anything about that product. So anyway, at this point,
Didn't somebody take over the business?
they're the best. They're here. If you don't have an awesome website, you should be using these guys.
But they don't have access to the forms.
No, they have access. It was too, the way Dory set it up, in her own way, he said it's just too much for him. Some stuff he can't figure out, and it's just too much. They're too busy. So no, they won't. But I'm going to research making forums for you guys. For the job forms, you're going to get from online. They're going to charge you for a year of service to see if you like it or not. And let's see what I got. So that's what you're going to have to use right now. But these guys, I've been harassing them to develop the forms for us. That these people have been with Biologic Dentistry forever, so Stand Tall Media is who I recommend you consider. And have them redo your website, etc., and make sure that you say, when are you going to bring back the forms? When you call them, the first thing I want you to do is call them and say, when are you going to bring back the forms? Because they just don't see the value, and they actually gave me permission that I can just take the idea, because it was my idea to begin with, to get my own. I'm going to see if I can get somebody to do the form stuff. I'll just sell them what they have. You know? So here. These guys, this is your website. You know these people, and they are awesome at optimizing. Yeah, the optimization of your website is the most important thing you can do, and then you will never have to do any advertising after this again. And it's amazing. Become SMART certified, number one. Then they optimize. We're on social media telling everybody in the world you need a smart dentist, and your phone will light up just because you're optimized. You're the smart dentist. They will be called. Okay? So anyway, these are the things. You got this. This is the idea here. All right. All right, so there you go. The first most important thing is you need to be smart.
All right, there's a question back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is this Dory's company? I feel that changed the name or something?
Yeah, yes. No, this was her name. This was her name before she passed.
Oh, okay.
And they had a different division, Talk International, and that's another thing that you can join and pay a yearly fee, and it just helps your optimization. So, so those are the things. But this is like what you mentioned, when you evaluate for metals, you talk about every metal in the mouth. And every metal thing that you do, you use smart protocol. When you're cutting off a crown, you're spraying potentially toxic metal everywhere, and most of those metal crowns have mercury underneath, as you know anyway. So, gold too? Absolutely. Gold is the worst because gold, number one, it's not pure gold. It has palladium. Palladium's the new nickel. All right, and then almost all of, or a good number of those gold ones have mercury underneath them. And gold is the most electronegative metal in your mouth. So if you have gold and any other metal in your mouth, you have current, like galvanic. Yes, you are getting messages from Russia. So you have the gold. I used to go all gold. And now I'm looking at my patients, I'm like, oh my God. And now and how am I going to tell them that, and then I just say, this is a great business. I get paid coming in, and it's more for taking it out. So you need to think about all of the metals, and I used to be afraid myself to talk to them about their metal crowns because I know that, in my practice, it's almost $2,000 for another one, and they just got that one last year. And they can't wear earrings, so you know that they're totally allergic to the metal that's in that porcelain on metal crown. They're allergic to that. That's a problem. And there's probably mercury underneath it, and so now you've got that signal coming, it's you and Sarah Palin and friends. And so, you've got this whole thing going on, and you've got to tell them. And that's your job, is to tell them, look at it. And a simple question that I tend to say to most of the women, because men don't wear jewelry unless you're like me, and then you got all kinds of jewelry on, but I don't wear earrings yet. It's a simple question to ask your patient, a female patient, do you react to costume jewelry? Well, I never wear costume jewelry. Of course you don't. But why don't you think back? Why did you quit? You quit wearing costume jewelry because you react. Well, you can have 5 metal costume jewelry crowns in your mouth. What do you think that intestinal distress is all about? And you're allergic, and it doesn't react here. It's going to your gut. That metal is, and especially if you've got gold in there, it's sucking the metal right out. It causes corrosion, and the metal particles are just 24/7 coming out of the crowns and going into your system. And so that's causing, it can cause toxicity, or it can cause allergy, which is different than toxicity. But it's a thing that your new patient wants to know about. You need to tell them about. You need to become educated about it, be able to discuss it. And you got to work your way to learning about it. And when I started, I said all kinds of stupid stuff. I used fluoride for a year when I was a biologic dentist. And some people left me right away when they came and saw that I was still doing fluoride treatments. So I thought that maybe the academy was wrong about the fluoride thing. So, you learn. It takes time. I'm not afraid to say, I've only been doing this for a year. I know this, and if I'm not sure about that, but I will email you tomorrow because I'll know about it by tomorrow.
You ask them if they wear costume jewelry from China, and they say no. Why are you wearing it in your mouth? Wow.
Yeah. Because if they're allergic to it, they react. And I'd say, what if you put in a Walmart earring and left it in for a month? What do you think you would hear with it? Oh, well, your gut probably looks at it, So this is like the thing. Become SMART certified. Don't be afraid to talk about that. You know, you have, of course, you know, bioaccumulation and the need for the long-term detox. Good morning.
Good morning.
Or is it afternoon now?
Kind of.
So you're, I tell my patients to detox for at least a year. And depending, if you get a feeling out of them that they're pretty toxic, they have lots of symptoms, you know, they're probably APO4, you know, so they're really vulnerable to the metal. Maybe I'm telling them you got to quit eating conventional food because it's got metals in it. You got to start trying to eat organic. But we take out your mercury. You need to take Shake's protocol or my protocol. You need to stick on it for at least a year. Most people, when they start that protocol, they feel so much better after 2 months. They quit doing it, and then at 6 months they're back in the office like, yeah, I'm not feeling better. Are you still doing the protocol? Oh no. I said, you remember back when you were feeling good after right away? You told me you were feeling much better. So it comes back. If the metal's in you, you take some out, you stop, it's still there, you start to have symptoms again. So you better stress to them for long term.
So for the patient, have no keys at all.
I'm sorry.
For the patient, have no keys at all. If you use the zirconium implant,
Yes.
how you do it? Like, there's no one like nowadays more popular, like 6-on-1, 8-on-1. But there's no way you can put 12 implants.
You can use zirconia implants in the same way as any metal implant.
But the problem for the top, the bar, is zirconia bar.
Oh no, you don't use bar, you use ball. The bar doesn't work.
But the bar is metal too, right?
No.
So they have
Zirconia, yeah, they have zirconia ball system that for overdenture, no bar.
No, but that's over. But what I mean is, that's it. What happens if they want fixed? Because now
If they want fixed, then you do zirconium implants and you do zirconium bridge. And you do the bridge work so that it's broken up in such a way that you don't cross the midline in the lower. And you cannot go longer than from 6 to 6 here. And so, but no, you can do it all with zirconia. Here's my guy
You
right
need
here.
a good lab who understands
There's a
the
guy right here,
materials.
man. You should be using him. He
No,
can
my
help you.
lab is, they think of my lab is, they do that. But I just out of my mind that because they're going to grinding, I never do one for non-metal.
Yeah, but see, you can do it. It's better. It will last fine. You know, probably the rest of their life when you do it.
How
You know.
long is it going to
How many years have they been doing them? I think if you include Europe, you're looking like 25 years, something like that. Zirconia implants. So they started doing them, and then they've changed, and now I've been doing them myself for probably 9 years or something.
So the one is no tissue at all. It's the zirconia implants, the crown, everything is zirconia. There are no metal.
No metal. No metal. Don't be using metal. If they even have a metal retainer bar that their orthodontist put in there, that's made out of nickel. Get that thing out of there. You know, make them a flexite retainer, so that no BPA. You always everything you're doing is as best as you can do, so that get all the metal out, all of them, and you need to be ready to explain why. And if you can't or you're not confident right now, don't worry about it. Learn about it, and then tell them when you can. And I come back from a conference, I would say to my patient, I was just at a conference, and I realized, wow, I told Carl I put it last week, I shouldn't have done that. And maybe we should be taking that out. Like, oh my God, what do you mean? Don't worry, I'm going to charge you a half price.
As you mentioned,
Sure.
that you might prescribe patients like Shake's protocol for a year.
Yeah.
How do you manage? Do you just tell them to look them up online, or do you self-prescribe?
Well, so for me, I have the link. I computer, hooked to my computer, so I'm always like, when I go home, at the end of the day, I get a list, these are the people, these are the things you told them, and then I send them the links. So I would send them a link to either, what I set my patients up on, because I use my own protocol, is full script. If you guys don't know about full script, you should be, so you get yourself registered on full script. Then you can just, at the end of the day, put your patient's name in, and then put their, and the full script will send them an invitation, and they can buy any good supplement. So I give them a list of what they should do, and they can go there and buy it. And then full script's supposed to be sending you money every so often. I hope they do. I don't check that. Eliza, you guys know what Eliza is. So if you have an allergy, if you suspect a metal allergy, ELISA is the testing that you do to check for metals. It's the only true metal test. And so it's a little bit tricky for us right now in the US. You have to time it. I think it goes FedEx, so you have to time it. You know that the box leaves for Germany at 5 o'clock. The blood draw happens at 3 o'clock. The patient drives it to the FedEx office and gives it to them. It goes to Germany. It's got to be there within 48 hours for them to run the test. It's got to be it's a live cell reaction test, and it is the most accurate, and it's like 86% or 85% accurate for metals. So if you want to know if your person is having metal allergy, they have hip, they have screws in their body, anything. You might think, well, those things are also causing this particular problem because titanium is not pure. So they have 100% of all titanium that they use has got nickel. And so it's pretty common, you got nickel. If you're not allergic to it, put it in them and wait 5 years and see what that tests like.
Isn't that magnesium sulfur?
No, that's a food allergy. Although they do have some other testing that goes with it.
Yeah.
That's ELISA Act. ELISA/Act. I use that testing. It actually changed my family because they have some very bad food intolerances. Their patients will have them, and some people that suffer chronic migraines, sometimes it's their food. And the best test for food allergy is the ELISA Act. And I insist, and insurance doesn't pay for either one of those tests, but I say you do what you want. But if these are the 2 tests that you really need.
But they don't have metals, you're saying, right?
I don't use them for metal, but I think that they've added some.
Yeah.
I don't think but it's not a ELISA test. Their food testing is good. Their metal testing, I am not sure about right now. Maybe. It might be just as good. You have to talk to Russ.
So Clifford or Biocomp is not great for metal testing?
No, that's not a metal test. So Clifford is who I use, and I think it's better, but that's just me. And that is for the presence of antibodies in your blood towards groups of compounds like phenols. And so he'll test your blood for antibodies reacting to this compounds, and then if this composite has that in it, that's listed. So for my patients who have a lot of allergies, a lot of maybe sick, they are sick, I insist that they have a Clifford test before we start. But it's not for checking to see if you're actually reacting to your implant or not. That's not going to help you.
You do not use silver metal testing?
I do not yet. I actually, in my practice, no one ever tests. I don't ever test anyone. I never tested myself. You got the symptoms, you got it. Pretty much everybody in the world has some level of metal symptom anyway, even if they don't have mercury fillings. If they're having symptoms, mercury either causes or makes worse almost every disease known to man. And there isn't a condition that you can give me that person wouldn't benefit by doing metal detox. So metal testing, there are people that want. You can use shades testing. It's only for mercury. But it's still, in my opinion, and I think if you cornered Chris on it, it's still in the testing phase because the whole thing is based on average of the population that he's tested so far. So,
What about MLIs? What are they basing on the reference?
Pardon?
So what are they, MLIs, what are they basing?
Melisa is actually a live cell. So they're putting it in the presence of the metal, and then they see if the white cell produces any. So it's a live cell test to see if it actually reacts to the metal in a defensive way. You know, and so
it's only using blood, not using urine or hair.
no, Melisa, just for metals, to see if you're actually right now allergic to these metals.
Oh, just to see it, not
To see if you're toxic, see if you have too much metal in your body, you use shades, or you use provocative DMSA or DMPS, right? And urine. And that's where, and so if you really have to know, be careful because IV provocative testing can actually cause some kidney problems. So I don't recommend it. I mean, if they want it, sure, I can get it for you. But I haven't yet, after all these years, found any need for it. And I can tell you, I would be dead. And now I'm still here battling, so I didn't have to test.
Well, there is, just from personal experience, I did test with myself.
Yes.
Shades, and surprisingly, I expected mercury to be high, but surprisingly, arsenic was up the roof. And that's something that's not very common. And I cannot get it down. I got the mercury down with the shades protocol. I cannot get arsenic down. So it is helpful information. I just need to research more how to detox arsenic.
Anybody got an idea?
From food?
That's the problem.
Rice.
That's the problem. Nobody can tell you for sure.
Chicken.
Rice is the big contributor, and I was eating a lot of brown rice at that time.
It's rice. Rice is
Rice has been common.
But it's also in the food. But I stopped eating rice 2 years ago now. I still cannot get it done after protocol. I detoxed it afterwards. I stopped eating rice. I still can't get it down.
You can email the boys if there's any ideas.
Yeah, sometimes you got to quick look at the test. Just detox. Just detox. This is a
I'm
lifestyle.
gonna do it now sort of for you.
Just detox, you know, and see how you feel. And if you're having health problems, then yes, then maybe you have.
Luckily not. I don't have health problems.
Well,
It's like
They quit testing. What are you doing with that test? The test is, I'm telling you, no test is 100%. If you test one day and then you test a week later, you can get totally different results testing on different days. So it's not, testing is not 100%. Chris will tell you that.
In that regard, do they test, does anybody test for reactivity to fluoride since it's so prevalent?
Reactivity to fluoride. No, fluoride is the most reactive element in the periodic table.
Right.
So you don't have a choice. When you take fluoride, your body is being acted upon. But there's nothing we know, that, at least that I know, that makes one person more reactive to fluoride than another person.
Okay.
Fluoride attacks your enzyme systems. You know how many enzymes we have? How many enzyme systems do we have? Hundreds of thousands. And so the action of fluoride is so much. That breaks your front teeth, by the way.
What's up, man?
I know my patients tell me that all the time. Hey, no, but the fluoride, you know, we don't know of anybody that's like impervious to fluoride because fluoride is so reactive that it causes problem with everything, your hormones, your enzymes, it's just crazy. And if you're taking in fluoride, showering in fluoridated water every day, it's breaking you down, you know? So it's a problem. Did you raise? No. Okay. All right. So ELISA, that's a test that you need to know about. They're going to be actually the owner. They're going to be in Bled next month. If you want to see, they're going to do an hour-and-a-half lecture. Some of the people that have worked there for a long time are going to tell stories about people who have been tested and removed the metal and what has happened to them. And it's going to be the most awesome lecture that I've seen in years. I'm sure of it. And I was so excited to get them to come to speak to us in Bled. If you want to see something that's really cool, go to the ELISA site and download the London conference that happened last year. It cost you $35 and watch the lectures. You're going to be flabbergasted by these stories by these doctors that have become aware of the mental problem. You're going to be fried by the stuff, and you're going to all of a sudden start paying attention to your patients. Like, do you have screws in your back? Because you're going to find out from that ELISA lecture series that they did it in remembrance of Vera, who developed she died recently, and they did this conference, and all these people that knew her came together to lecture. And that conference, you sit down and you watch it, and you're going to become 100% instantly better biologic dentist by watching it, because it'll make you so aware. Of course, the other thing that we know that you need to be very aware of is the galvanic thing that we talked about with gold and anything else, or even amongst different mercury compositions. And the galvanic thing, too, for me, it's different than the toxicity thing. But I had a patient who came to me from Carolina, and she had she had a metal bridge here, maybe a half dozen mercury fillings. She wanted her mercury out. I said, all the metal's got to come out. She stayed for 2 weeks, so we had to rush this job. So at first, in her first appointment, we took out the bridge and took an impression, some mercury. The next day I did some mercury. She came back the next week, and I got my whip out, and Aaron got me some new bridge work done. He doesn't pay attention to me ever. So she came back the next week to get her zirconium bridge put in. She literally had tears in her eyes. She said, I slept 3 nights in a row. She said, I haven't slept 3 nights, even one night, for over 10 years. And that instant reaction was galvanic. I said, she thought it was the mercury. I said, no. I said, that mercury takes a long time. You got to detox. She's still detoxing. She wrote me. She's doing great. But that was instantly, I took the current away, and she wasn't getting any more calls from Russia. You know, and that was like that. And galvanism is huge, and it also causes the corrosion. And this video right here is a video that I readily share with my patients who don't believe the story, the potato clock. And you should put that in your library, because yes, you go to YouTube and look at the dental potato clock and share that with your patients. Steve Carell, the most ingenious dentist we lost in the academy about a year ago, did that video on his own, and it's just simple and straightforward, and it's perfect.
I'm sorry, what did you call it again?
The dental potato clock.
It's like,
He shows with the old electronic little clock. You can run it with a potato. And he sticks implants and crowns and amalgam in there, and then he plays with it. And you can see very simply, like, wow, you know, there's that current, you know. So you know, that's that. First, you got to talk about the metals. Now you're going to talk about root canals, and you have to address everything about a root canal. You know, and if my patient wants to keep a root canal, that's fine. You know, that's up to you. And I told you that we don't believe it. Most of us believe it. Bless you. And some of you, some people might say it's okay. Oh, I feel fine. maybe not every person reacts as bad as others. We don't know that. But for one of my assessments that I want for every patient, especially if they want to keep their root canals, is go get a head and neck thermogram. They can order it. Everybody has thermographers in their area. In my area, they travel around and they can say, okay, we're going to be over here tomorrow, and then they can go there and they can get a head and neck thermogram. And they can get that on their own and where the root canal is. I mean, my patient, I just had one. I've been telling her for years, and they have breast cancer in her family. I said, will you get the thermogram? It's $150, you know. She went and got it. Guess what? Here's your root canal. Here's your red line. Oh. She got her tooth out. Thank God. I mean, these are my family. The thermogram is cheap, and they can do it on their own. And it's a simple thing that it doesn't tell you which tube. It'll give you like there's some, maybe here you might have something coming, but it's one of the assessments that for me and for behind the scenes in the cavitation committee, they think it's a good idea to have a thermogram, and then later on when you're patting yourself on your back, how they feel so good, you can get another thermogram and you go, look at that, you look beautiful, you know? So I think it's a good idea. It's a tool that you can use. So, yeah, you look at these things. Are they successful? Are these root canals successful? Well, some dentists on Facebook almost did this. This is like the best root canal they ever saw. You know, they're bragging about this stuff. But, you know, when you look, there's a lesion right there. When you look at that in the cone beam, you're going to have a hole. Look at how beautiful I did this, you know? This is great. Well, what about that, and what about the resorption that's going on down there? You know, this one looks pretty good. Well, what's that thing up there in the percation? They're always messed up. They're always messed up. I mean, it is so rare to find root canals that are messed up. When they come out, they're black, and, you know, what's that black root thing, you know? It's like, man, you guys are pretty good. And the fact is that they're dead. You know?
Mark, do you remember years back when I sent you those pictures of those cross-section specimens of the teeth with the, you know, the tiny little tubules
Yeah, I use his pictures all the time. You want to sell a couple pictures?
I'm telling you to sell them, Mike. Just give it to him.
He has a beautiful, I use it, I have to keep it under death. He won't tell me how he did it, but he's got the slices through the teeth. And then it's like close and it's illuminated, and you can see the microtubules in the walls, you know. So I always pull it out. I say, you know, they killed the tooth, they're filling it down the middle.
Cool to use the picture.
But those little tubules, you know, those are like, there's a lot of them there, so it's really cheap for the bugs to rent those spaces. And they stay there. And even if you get that funny, they think that they should probably the blood, if you're sick, they're going to transport and get back into the tubules anyway, you know. You guys should, when you become SMART certified, you should think about ordering a box of these cards and giving them to your physicians. It doesn't have your name on it, and it's like the best card that you can do.
I'll send you a picture if you guys want to like send me your information. I'll just put it in an envelope. I mean, I have lots of pictures that I've taken. It's really
let's come in.
the colors that I was able to use filters to create this, and besides the fact that they're beautiful, it can. I think I do have some that I can, you know, it's like 8 by 12 that I can put in an envelope and send it to you, and you can use it, you know, as a tool to maybe, you know, show your patients.
Hey, so Eric's telling me that this is some new thing that he's aware of. You want to tell us about Eric? He doesn't. He's got something. So I guess he doesn't. All right.
So if we had a tooth that had an infected nerve, exosomes are like stem technology, stem cells. So then we could inject the exosomes directly into the nerve, just do an intentional access. Because go directly into the nerve, inject the exosomes into there because they're hydrated and saline, so it's a liquid. And then hopefully there's an NIH paper out there that shows that they took an irreversible pulpitis and they reversed it to healthy. So
So it's something new that.
yeah, so that's an option, and I think that goes to Zena's question about that, was that if you could do that first and give that as an option, you know, the patient says, no, I don't want to extract the tooth. Okay, well, let's see if we can do this, inject it, and see if it works. You know, obviously, you guys have ozone now. That's one tool. I've had a lot of exposures where I just gas it with ozone, and then I just go ahead and fill it, and I don't need to root it out. So, you know, between ozone, between exosomes, I think we're starting to have more tools that we're going to be able to offer more options that they don't need to do root canals.
So I wasn't aware of this. I'm not going to try it on my patients until I actually write a letter. If it doesn't have 10 people and they're all successful, then I'll start doing it. But that's something that's pretty cool, you know.
Well, I think
what do you go right into the pulp and inject it?
yeah. At 30 gauge, you just pump right into the pulp because it's already infected.
Sure.
So what are you going to do? I mean, the worst thing you can do is
it's worth a try.
you kill it. Right, exactly. And I think that's what we have to do with some of these newer technologies, newer tools. Just try them. And it's like, they don't work, but you know, at least we can try, give them that option.
And then what do you do
For
for the
reversible pulpitis or for
What, I'm sorry, what?
You're doing it for reversible pulpitis situation or irreversible?
Well, the NIH paper that I pulled was irreversible.
Huh.
Yeah. So,
How do you, after you inject the
Yeah, well, now the new
yeah, I'm just going to put it over that access hole. I think so I still have access.
Yeah, see what happens.
I don't know. I mean, I don't
But it's
know.
pretty cool.
I've done it like 4 times, but they were pretty dead. So they were too far dead. I think I have to get it when it's just.
That's interesting. Yeah, I gotta look. I didn't get time to look at the science, but I do want to talk with them. Yeah.
Is that between that and this?
More tools.
There's always been every meeting you come to, you're going to find something new, and things that you bought are going to become obsolete, and so the whole thing is to educate yourself, you know, and educate yourself before you buy. But you know, here's the root canal problems. You saw the cytokine production was ridiculous. You know, not all root canals block the meridians, but a lot of them do. And I don't know why exactly, but I understand from our friend Dr. Yu that he shows that off. And you know, this focal infection where it moves from the tooth to the body. And so focal infection in the root canal is a reality. Are you going to leave a dead tooth in there that potentially is spreading tuberculosis around your body? I mean, I don't know. I'm not for it. But you have to make that your own decision. You have a few choices. These are the choices I give to my patient.
Many years ago, I heard a wonderful question, and I try to balance things in my mind. So the whole concept of function of teeth and the movement of all of the bones, the rhythmic thing that we do, is important too, and that's the structure element of dentistry. So there's always a trade-off. If you take a tooth out, you lose in the area of structure. And so how do you know when to pull the plug on structure to benefit biological?
The cranial sacral thing is what you're referring to, and that's the movement of the bones, which causes the fluid flow. And there again, we don't know the impact of missing a couple of teeth.
Right.
We know the impact of having infection.
So if you feel that the infection is overriding that, then take the tooth out.
It's always going to go out. The tooth comes out if it's in I would never have it. The craniosacral fluid flow, you can get massage if you think that you can have a craniosacral therapist do your manipulation. You can probably get things moving on your own if you know how to do it, or stand on your head or something. And so, yeah, that wouldn't override me having an extraction for me. I don't think, because those plates are bigger than just one tooth. So, you know, the adjacent tooth is gonna also move those plates. The other movement, you know, I don't think by taking out a tooth and restricting the plates, but I see your point, your concern is like, stop moving them.
Well, it's just something to
Thank you for coming.
think about.
Yeah, of course, there's a million things to think about, don't like stay up at night thinking about them. So these are the options I give my patient. Or space, I say, you know, I'd rather see you in space than nothing. And maybe if you're just going to leave a space, we should make you a retainer so your teeth don't tilt. That's it. You know, you got to have to buy a retainer. Otherwise, your teeth are going to tilt. And then, well, I don't care, doc. Well, that's fine. That's my job is to tell you, and then my patient has to make their own decision. You know. Now the other thing your patient wants to know about: do I have any cavitations? You know, they saw it on a real book or they saw it somewhere, and it's your job to evaluate as to whether they have osteonecrotic lesions in the bone. So it's our obligation just to learn about that, become brave enough to talk about that, and if you don't want to have to do the surgery, you need to start searching. Sometimes some of the biologic people have their patients fly. You know, Stuart Newley is a great surgeon. They fly into Stuart, you know, or they trust Justin Wall or something. But for me, I'm lucky enough I recruited my periodontist and made him a millionaire. So he loves it. He's here with his staff, and he's learning all the time. And we evaluate. And if they don't want to, that's fine. And if they don't want to, each time they come, and you can see on your x-ray, maybe like, wow, I know they got a lesion right here. And say, okay, maybe a thermogram. And then I tell them about 18 times, and then finally, like my patient did recently, they go get a thermogram, and then she goes, oh my God, he was right. And I should have listened to him a long time ago, because when they cleaned that thing out right there, it was huge. You know? You can't always see it, you know? So you need to do that. It's just a job it's our job to do it. And so how do we assess? You could assess with a thermogram. It's one of assessments, but you know, it's not the final decision if you have a positive thermogram, you know? But are the most definitive as far as the board goes right now is the cone beam. And the cone beam, even on the cone beam, now you've got to know how to read the cone beam. That's the tough part, you know? And we see these guys here lecturing, they're casting doubt on their cone beam and they're reading their cone beam. Don't be afraid. You know, don't be afraid, because you're doing more than anybody, and your fear is because you're toxic. And if you detox, you will gain confidence. You'll make better decisions. And you'll be able to study longer, and you won't wake up in the middle of the night and stay awake because you're not toxic anymore. So I just say you'll be a better dentist. I can't imagine that you can really do your best without detoxing. You can your preps will be better. You'll be more thorough. You'll be more honest. Everything is better when your head is clear of metal. AMA is Dr. Yu's thing. Now I'm swearing to I've been to Dr. Yu twice to learn AMA, acupuncture meridian assessment. It's a real thing. You take an amp meter and you touch the acupuncture points, and the amp meter acts in a certain way. And if it's not correct, the amp meter will not act that way. It's amazing. And you can have the patient use the ground and go to the areas that you want to check. And you check on the dental point, you're checking, and if there's a cavitation there, it will show you. And that is measuring the energy that's going through there, the energy that our science doesn't recognize as energy, but the 10,000 plus year old meridian system that they took away from us and we don't know too much about is real. And once you start studying that, I think AMA is a very, very valid way to evaluate whether you have a cavitation and whether it's actively blocking the meridian. So go to see Dr. Yu, wonderful man to go learn from. Fly into St. Louis, I think he's got another class coming up not too long, and then use it. If I don't use it, I go back, you lose it. It's not like riding a bicycle. It's kind of hard. I might go back one more time, third time's a charm, right? He's my good friend. My patients, I send them to you. For Dr. Yu, that acupuncture meridian assessment is the most valuable diagnostic tool that you can have. And if you have a patient and nobody can figure out what's wrong, they go to Dr. Yu, and I can tell you, every one of my patients that I have sent there, they have had miracle cures. They are totally happy with going there. It's the best money they'll ever spend for your complicated cases, Dr. Simon Yu. So, what is I think here we're talking about the what we're using in our practice. We have evolved in our protocol for cavitations, and we try to make our patients as healthy as possible before we have surgery. I work with the naturopath. He will do the supplements, or if I'm going to do it myself, I have stuff that I like and I recommend that they should do. And I have a surgical protocol that I give them, which has all the bone supplements and the vitamin C and the magnesium. And we want their D3 level at least at 70 to 100, and that's the only test we run is the D. But I think there's probably more you could do. But you can do it yourself, or you can hand it off to your naturopathic doctor, and they can do it. We use ozone. We precondition a week before. They're shooting areas that are going to be surgery a week before. Then the day of, they come to me on the day of surgery. We do ears, we do nose, and then we inject the site with some low gamma ozone. If you're not ozone certified, you probably should consider it because it's pretty cool stuff. This guy right back here does ozone certification now, don't you? Yep. He's on the West Coast, and then if you want to
come to your office.
Yeah, he'll do it at your office. And he'll sleep at your house too. Hang out, you can buy dinner.
Take care of your pets too.
So I understand he does a great course. I was certified like him, went from Malika, and at first I didn't get it, but ozone is really valuable too.
I mean, I think I think that's our goal. I think Dr. Malika, my goal is to get every dentist in the country, obviously we're not going to do it, but every dentist using ozone. I think it should be a necessary thing to use in dentistry because it's like, for what we learned at dental school was amputative dentistry, and we need to switch our model to regenerative dentistry. The public's demanding something different. They're demanding a more gentle, more kind way for us to deliver dentistry, and we need to deliver it. You know, we can't just keep giving them amputation.
She's going to get
and I think ozone provides the doorway to regenerative dentistry. You know, it's starting to disinfect things. It's starting to provide a healthier environment for that oral environment to heal.
Yeah, I've been teaching in Maryland in the State Dental Association. It's a great place to be where you're biological dentists and not medical people. Because you talk about something really cool that works and they can be compared to all the things we use in dentistry. And I never mentioned mercury or root canals. They show procedures how to use for a biological root canal. It's a nice stepping stone, like into the world of the adders.
And are you getting out now yet and teaching yet with those? Okay, cool. Are you going to offices or are you lecturing?
I have one Friday.
Okay, cool. So there's another option for you too, besides Dr. Malka. You can go Mark and get him to teach you ozone and whatever else you want to teach too.
I teach yoga.
Hot yoga.
Yeah, are you guys, is everybody thinking about ozone certification? now that Eric's telling you you should get out.
Monica's setup is good.
Yeah, so I
Is that a
use
private office?
this, yeah, and at first, like I said, I was afraid of it, but now I use it every day, you know? It's and if you're gonna be doing these surgeries, or your patients are gonna be having these surgeries, I think it's invaluable.
It's gonna help. I have a periodontist said that he compared it and said that the surgeries that he does, and I use ozone on, heal 3 times faster than without ozone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
And now you start to throw stuff like new technologies. You start to throw STEM technologies into that. Now you start to heal even faster. You know, I mean, it's silly that we're giving patients these, 3 to 6 to 8 month healing times for something that should be, like boom, and not yesterday, but should be a lot quicker. We should be giving them the option to do things a lot quicker than we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in my recent experience, I mean, my surgeon uses IV vitamin C and other things on the day of surgery, but before the day, a couple days before the surgery, IV high dose vitamin C. The day after the surgery, IV high dose vitamin C, and it really will help with your yes, your pointing.
A little better.
Oh, yeah, she went to get my.
Okay, so a point about vitamin C is that not ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid drives your ferritin levels up. Ferritin is a disease driver. So if your ferritin level's above 30, you're going to start getting your risk for disease, any disease. I don't care what it is. But no, not ascorbic acid. If you're going to do IV vitamin C, anything but ascorbic acid.
Yeah, you need the right form. We need the right form of C. So I don't do the IV myself. My naturopath does that. Some states don't allow us to do any IVs. Some states people are doing IV, even for mercury removal, they're doing IVC. I would recommend
So
I don't know why you're doing it.
you have a license to inject. Why can't you set up a pick line? What?
No, there's states that don't allow that at all.
Don't allow a dentist to do that?
Actually, right. Right. Absolutely. And that's been one of the things that some of our members have gotten in trouble from the board for doing that IV vitamin C during mercury removal. So I'd be aware of your laws, and if you're concerned, I don't see the reason for it anyway. My patients are on SHAPE's protocol for at least a week before I get started, and their glutathione levels are high. The vitamins, IV vitamin C, it's trivial. I mean, you need the glutathione. I mean, trivial. The vitamin C is good for healing. It does all kinds of great things, but why are you risking the IV thing? I don't get it. But like you said, you got to know what type, and so if you're going to do it, you got to do your research. And then our ozone continues for 4 to 6 weeks afterwards. I see them every week, and I'm injecting lower and lower gamma ozone into the sites while they heal. Concentrated plasma factors, it's like now that's common. If you're going to be doing surgery, you should be doing spinning the blood and using PRGF or PRGRE, XYZ, whatever, there's like a million of them now, liquid, so know that, and you should be doing that. It seems to be some pretty good, and this guy's a big proponent of using a piezo for your surgery. When you're doing it, how about you, Mark? Do you use piezo? No. Some do, some don't, but piezo is something that you might consider. And the laser we're looking at, we don't know about laser for cavitation surgery. It seems like it should work, but we don't know if it's going to work exactly. And I think Kurtola is doing some work there to see, testing the laser for cavitation. So we don't know at this point whether it's working, but if you want to use it, Fontona, is that the name? Fontona, they're in Glen. They're going to put on a whole day with the Fontona factory, and they're claiming that you should be using laser as the state-of-the-art in cavitation surgery. But I don't know, let me know if it works, then I'll buy it. So,
I think the thought is disinfecting and breaking up the regular.
What they do is I have a photon laser, and the same technology that they use for endo, which is it's basically an energy that comes out. It's a double cavitation, which is sort of just like a tidal wave of the liquid. So that's what goes into the dental tubules and supposedly cleans everything out, all the accessories out. That same protocol can be used in an extraction site or a cavitation site to just blast your disinfection deeper liquid, ozone, water, whatever. So it's the same technology that they're using. That's what at least Justin Wall is teaching with photon.
all right, so there you go. I hope the laser works. It seems like it should work actually better, but you know, test it out and send me an email. Let me know. Because I'm not ready until I find out. And then, you know, the last thing that I think that your patient expects is that you should never promise, is that they're going to feel better after they get done with it. Some people come just to get the mercury out because you're a smart and certified dentist, and they want to get it out before they have a problem. I want to give them a hug, say you're smart because you're getting it done smart, and because you're doing it to head off a problem. Especially women who are going to conceive. And it's part of family planning. You got young girls, you know, 18 or whatever, 19, you better start talking to them about, oh, you don't want to get your mercury out, but you want to have a baby. You better start reading about it. Because it concentrates in your baby's brain, and it causes many problems, and many that we I'm sure don't even know about. But there's plenty of studies that you can share with them from the IAOMT library. The IAOMT holds that you do not remove mercury for any reason when they're pregnant, and you do not remove mercury when they're breastfeeding. So those people who now are pregnant and now they're panicked because they have mercury fillings, the IAOMT does not stand for that. Some people do it because they believe that it's better. I myself, I try not to. I don't know.
Hey, Bob, this is a good question.
Yeah, but that's good.
So I've had like some pregnant people with
No, you know.
Losable amalgams, and then you can do single program technique if you're doing a smart technique and do it well. I think this was a request, and we had this conversation. I think I remember there was a big discussion at a board meeting where we were talking about it. Because there's a 24/7 release of mercury, so and then you're going to nurse after too. So maybe it should, but I mean, like these giant MODBLs, I'm trying to do that. I don't think I would get into that, but I think it's smart.
I mean, yeah, I would be very careful. I mean, if I had this big conversation, and my attempt would be not to touch the mercury.
Well, I think if it's an urgent situation like you're talking about, is wait till the second trimester at least.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
You have to
do anything.
feel, and they really are crying and saying, "Oh my God, I don't want to poison my baby."
Right.
You know, you could cut them out without touching the mercury. You say, "Okay, that's going to be a crown because we're going to cut all the way around without touching it. It's going to come out in one big chunk." You could do that. I would totally do that for a gal who was pregnant. I just put on my 8-power loops. 8 power.
So we're
Put them on. Get some 8 power, baby. I'm going to tell you, it will improve your dentistry like no tomorrow.
If you're talking about pregnant people, I think
Pregnant people.
Yeah, pregnant people. I think that you should really not do ozone while they're pregnant. You just don't want people coming back down the road after they've had a miscarriage and saying, "You did ozone on me, and I'm blaming the ozone for my miscarriage."
Right, okay.
So I think that's another caveat that we need to talk about.
Yeah, no, yeah, I really don't think it does. It would never hurt anything, but you better not do it. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I treat you're a person with pregnancy? Oh my God. Pregnant people. Pregnant people. What is there a song like that? Pregnant people?
Yeah.
But, yeah, we do as little as possible on those pregnant people. And I don't recommend, and they should use good supplements, not they should not be detoxing. You don't recommend detox during pregnancy, you know, and if you got a pregnant man, oh my God, don't be touching him.
Remember, you usually had a guy with a beard with a belt. That was like in the allergy room, and my son was like 9 years old. Like, what's that, Mom?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so I think, you know, for me, like I said, I'm lucky enough to have a crazy naturopathic doctor who is not afraid, and we became friends, and we agree on most everything. He's functional medicine based. You need to have a doctor in your area. They'll be sending you people. You'll be sending them a lot more people, and because when you do your interview, you're going to find out, like, yeah, I know this is more than mercury, you know, or they need help with their diet. Functional medicine doctors really coming with people who you know they're just not eating right, you know. So I think that's a part of the thing that you should have in your armamentarium. Then you know you have that initial screening, like I talked about. You do whatever you do. I suggest you get to know your people, become friends, and don't prejudge them because they have big muscles and long hair. And so, you know, that's what this is about. You know, are you going to be able to give them? What kind of detox are you going to do? Are you comfortable with it? You'll know with experience, like, yeah, this person's going to just start doing the Shape's protocol, and all of his skin lesions are going to go away. You know in your mind. I don't promise people that. But I've been doing this now long enough. It's like, you know, you see and hear the symptoms. You know that, like, our patients come back. I always ask, you know, how you doing? Oh man, I'm doing well. Wow, yeah. Are you still getting up at night? Oh, I don't get up. I can't even get up at night. I sleep like a baby. You know, so things change for your patients, and it's just like the most rewarding thing you'll ever see. You know, you'll ever witness. It just happens.
On detoxification, your personal opinion on IV chelation?
I recommend against it. Okay, I think I would do it certainly in an acute situation. You're doing it, but for chronic mercury toxicity,
Dennis, me,
I would not do it. You would perform it, or having it done for yourself?
No, for me.
No, we have some stories from the long-term members of kidney damage during IV DMPS and doing DMSA, and so it forces a lot of mercury out in an unnatural way.
Yeah, I'm afraid of like psychotic conversion or something like that.
I don't, you know, why? You know, you've been becoming toxic for decades. You're not going to get it out, and when you do IV DMPS, you do it over a year's period. You're going to do 26 IVs. And if you can do that, you've got a lot more free time tonight. Because you've got to go in there and for a couple hours get it
kind of an unnatural kind of
and you're using some oil product to grab mercury in your body and force it out through your kidneys. And some people, your proximal tubules are like, you know, little baby skin, you know. You don't want you can damage, you can cause damage. Why? We have such like this great idea. Use what your body uses. Use some liposomal glutathione. Use, you know, and then you need your help from your doctors with maybe they have some super blocks. You know, if you got the MTHFR gene, you've got it, you know, 4 different ways. Then you might need some other more complicated help. And if you're not ready to study that and know that, well, you might need that other doctor to take care of that, you know, give them some methyl, you know, give them some methylfolate or whatever. So it's just where you are. And so, but remember, not everyone can just simply do it. Just most people can simply do it, you know. Yeah.
A couple years ago, I was here, you guys had a meeting combined with the medical doctors.
Yes.
Do you have any like referrals to them, or will you doing this kind of thing so we can find a local?
Our next meeting, right, is in Dallas.
That's a cross-pollinating.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what, so our next meeting, maybe you'll meet those doctors again.
And that is when and where?
March
The
first
week
of
6
March. March 5th through 7th.
Okay.
And
But
then
you
the Savannah meeting, there'll be doctors on that.
That was in Savannah.
Yeah, that whole, if you find the slides, you'll see doctors, 5th through 7th.
Go online, this is what I had to do, you go online, you search, if you're, you know, by the way, there's a difference between holistic and biologic. So you're gonna search either holistic or biologic or functional medicine doctor. Get a list of everybody who's within 45 minutes of you. Call their office, offer to take them out to dinner.
I've done that for my personal reasons. I went to Singapore. I went to functional medicine guys. They were about to kill me just because I knew that. So I could not proceed with what they were offering. They're not knowledgeable enough and all of that.
That's where you got to interview.
They all want to do this
Yes.
I cannot handle that.
Well, if your patient wants to do the test, that's, I don't think the test one time is bad, although it can be. But I would be okay, then you can see this whole list of metals, and then you can stay up at night with like her and worry that you have this arsenic that won't go away. Then you're thinking about all the people that hated you all your life and is putting arsenic in your water every day, and you can't figure it out. So it goes on and on, you know. So testing can cause problems. Worrying can causes a problem.
We're not supposed to worry.
Yeah.
I'm not worried, but I want to find
So
the right doctor.
you do a speed dating thing with a functional medicine doctor. That's why you need to educate yourself, because you have to articulate, know what questions to ask. And it's
That's
like,
very
you
true.
just wrap the whole thing.
That's exactly my question, that if somebody already worked here and know our concerns, I want to find those.
Well, one of the things that I thought was great in Savannah was they say they do a lot of exams. You have to see a physician opening someone's mouth. I wouldn't be looking at someone's body to do it all the time. But these guys were saying that's part of their workup. You know, if someone's saying that, they're probably not working. Ask them to talk about work.
So yeah, you know, my point is, this is how they control fear. How do you get rid of fear? First, what do you do?
Let it go.
Detox.
Detox, and then
First you detox. First you detox, okay? Because you'll always be afraid when you're toxic. I don't care how much you know or you think you know, because you're going to forget it at the most crucial time. First you detox, then you learn, right? And when you learn that you're making these things up. OSHA's not coming to get you. The board's not coming to get you. You know what you're doing. You're doing things solidly. You're honest. We are doctors, because that's why we are members of the IAOMT, because we are honest doctors. We don't give a care whether insurance covers it or not. This is what you should have. And if you wanted an insurance doctor, I'm probably not the doctor for you, because I don't even take insurance. And whether they cover it or not, I'm not giving you a wooden leg, because insurance only pays for wood. So you have to have, you figure it out. And the patient sees you're honest, they make their own decisions. They've been to enough dishonest, crazy mad-hatters. You know, they recognize and want to come to you. So these are the books that I think are very basic, that every single one of you should have read if you haven't read them, or at least know them. And certainly every one of the new patients who come, I would say 90% know about Western Price, and you should know exactly what's going on with the whole Western Price story. This book is hard to get. I bought it for maybe 20 bucks. I think some people paid 100. And Simon, Dr. Yu says he bought that book for 1 cent or something, 10 cents. But it's out of print. This is amazing. information.
We can't read it, what does it say? We can't see what it
Can't
is.
see it?
And go to another.
This one you can't see?
Right.
Okay, this is Storbecker. Storbecker is how you say the name. All right?
Can you spell that?
From German. Storbecker. That's the author. Storbecker. Mercury poisoning from dental amalgam.
That was like $300.
Yeah, but you gotta search it and find it, okay? And this, if you think you know how decay happens, if you haven't read this book, it's a total lie, okay? This will change everything how you practice. This book is nothing but experiments that they did and then squashed, and your body has a mechanism for resisting decay in its fluid flow through Aaron's tubules on his picture, and when they shot the sucrose into the stomach of the rats, their system of fluid went backwards, and that is how it's not sugar on your teeth; it's systemic effect of sucrose. When they put the rats into cages where they couldn't move, their teeth rotted because stress actually stopped the hormone. It's a hormone. It goes from your hypothalamus, goes to your carotid. The carotid releases a secondary hormone, goes to your pulp. Your pulp, the pressure increases. The fluid comes out of the vessels because they got big penetrations inside of the vessels, and it flows outside. They put the dye in the mouth. They put them in the cage, and the teeth turn green. And so decay happens not because you didn't brush this morning. It happens because of what you're eating, and the hormone release, and the hormone disruption in your body that reverses the flow. And that is very important. You know that? This book is also hard to get. This is a guy's dissertation, and it's about the whole cover-up thing about root canals and cavitations. And it follows it from the early 1900s. It's an amazing story about this person, that person, this is how, then all of a sudden they decided not to talk about it anymore, and this wasn't true, and that wasn't true. And so it's the whole, he did a beautiful job of following the ball and how they covered it up. So that's kind of pretty cool stuff right there.
We don't change it.
Sure, all right.
The dental tubules, that's the main reason why they don't like it. They don't like what?
All right. So here's your testing we talked about. We've already talked Melissa Act, Clifford, the Lysin. Those are the 3 tests that you need to have in your tooth bag. All right, and that you should be considered. You should think about coming to Bled, because Bled is like, this will be my 4th time. It's just amazing. It's the feeling you get when you're there. And the stuff that we're going to talk about this time is going to be like, blow you away. We meet at night at the Devil's Cafe, you know, and it's just every night we would see you at the Devil. And you just walk around this lake, and you wake up in the morning and they're rowing on the lake, and people are the most friendly, and they all speak English there. It's a getaway. So those are the Austrian mountains, and they are just, it's an amazing thing. And way up at the very tallest Austrian mountain, you can see this little tiny shack up there. I guess it's huge, but the cab driver told me that he said that's how you become a man. You have to hike to the top, and he said that's when you become manhood. It takes you, I guess it's like a 10 to 12 hour hike up, and so then you hike up and you sleep at that hostel, and then you hike back down. But it's like wow, that thing. It looks like you could do it in a couple hours, you know. So this is like, I always like to kind of show this at the end of my talk, because, you know, what do you see? You have this beautiful bird, right? But really, it's not a bird at all. This is a man that they painted. Here is his leg. You can see his foot. His arm is over his head like this. So now if you look, now you can see, there's his hand. You see this man. If you really look at it, you can see it. And when you see it, you can never see it the other way again. This is biologic dentistry. And that's what I think about. When I see that picture, it says, welcome to the rabbit hole, baby. You're part of the family. You know? So, like me on Facebook, help me out, battle with me against these groups, join these groups. We're trying to spread the word about SMART, the IAOMT, helping people out. If you can, be careful. There's a lot, all those crazy, the real crazy people are there. And, you know,
This is
there's
your
my,
email? This is your email address?
this is my email. This is my cell phone. You guys need help, anytime you call me, and if you have an emergency, I don't care if you're in the middle of something, oh my God, I just gave somebody 50 gamma ozone in their eyeball, you know, don't worry, we're here, we're all in the academy, we're brothers and sisters, and now we're around the world. It's amazing. Thank you.